Things just took a shocking turn for the New York Jets, as after they made a huge signing in the offseason, they made a move that very few people expected them to make. And we wonder, what is Aaron Glenn up to with this New York Jets team? As this, in theory, doesn't make sense, though there are some possible answers that we're going to break down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here. And guys, if you are part of that 68% that's not subscribed to Jets Digest, make sure to subscribe. This is the place to be for all New York Jets content. But let's jump into the video. There's a lot to discuss. The New York Jets made an absolutely surprising draft pick when they selected Azareyeh Thomas in the third round of the NFL draft. And this was a pick that widely was regarded as a steal for the Jets. Thomas did slide down the draft boards a bit more than expected, so the Jets looking like they got a great selection here at that cornerback slot. Now, the reason he slid down the draft board was because of that 40-yard dash time, and we will get into that in a little bit. But it was mentioned by the Jet press that the plan, at least publicly, was to plug Brandon Stephens in as the starting cornerback opposite Sauce Gardner, taking over for DJ Reed. Head coach Aaron Glenn even went as far as to say he believed in Stephens could become an elite corner in New York. Still, given Stephens' inconsistent play with the Ravens, the contract looked like a major gamble. Now, just a few months later, that gamble looks even riskier. The Jets' decision to draft Florida State cornerback Azareyeh Thomas in the third round of the 2025 NFL draft calls into question Stephens' long-term fit and maybe even his short-term job security. Now, on top of that, the Jet press also mentioned that although Thomas slipped to 73 overall, in a large part due to a disappointing 4.58 second 40-yard dash at his pro day, his film tells a different story. He's a long, physical outside corner who thrives in press man coverage, precisely the style the Jets seem intent on playing, with Sauce Gardner already anchoring one side of the field. So, Matt, Azareyeh Thomas comes in here, plays that role perfectly. The 40-yard dash time was something that Aaron Glenn openly said he didn't care about because he doesn't care about that. He's a film guy, as he said. Sounds like someone I know.
Yeah, so one of the, in the scouting community, one of the things about cornerbacks, the 40 matters a lot because people are worried about cornerbacks' top end speed, because if he's matched up against like a Xavier Worthy type, that's obviously really bad for the Jets. And if we're playing zone defense where one of our corners are going to stay on one side and they're not going to follow a guy in motion, what's going to stop the Kansas City Chiefs from, when they identify zone coverage, they can motion out Xavier Worthy to occupy Azareyeh Thomas, and he's going to be forced to have that matchup, and that's not a good matchup for him if his 40 time isn't fast enough. Now, 4.58 is, for the top of the NFL draft, like the first round, that's not really fast enough as a corner, but in the NFL, it really isn't as bad as, it's not the end of the world. Like, if you can play, you can definitely play. Like you said, it is so obvious that the New York Jets defense is going to have tall, physical cornerbacks. Now, Sauce Gardner may not be a extremely physical cornerback, but he's definitely a tall cornerback, and we're adding someone kind of in the same mold as Azareyeh Thomas, or as Sauce Gardner in Azareyeh Thomas. But unlike Sauce Gardner, Azareyeh Thomas does have significantly better hands. There's a play on some of his highlight tapes where he pretty much catches it on the sidelines. The quarterback's trying to throw the ball away, and he catches it on the sidelines, taps his toes, and has a really nice interception. So the guy can definitely play. Like you said, this was a steal. I'm seeing a lot of draft analysts saying that they actually had Mason Taylor and Azareyeh Thomas switched. So they think that the Jets reached in the second round, but then got a crazy value in the third round. And they've gone so far to even say if the picks were swapped, they would have them as both good values. But hey, I'm happy we got both guys. So what I really like about this pick is we didn't have a need at cornerback. So the fact that we took this player proves that Aaron Glenn is serious when he says he's going to be taking the best player available at every opportunity, which is the exact perfect way to build a team out properly. With Brandon Stephens, you don't let a good player stop you from drafting a great one. That's what they say, and it's absolutely true. You never know what's going to happen with Brandon Stephens. He could get injured. He could decide out of nowhere that he wants to retire. So you always want to make sure, if you have the opportunity to take a player that you have highly ranked on your board, someone who you don't think he should be there at the pick where you have the opportunity to take him, you just take him. Unless it's, let's say you have a really high grade on a quarterback and you're the Bengals, you already have Joe Burrow. You, of course, don't take a quarterback sliding just to take a quarterback. In that situation, it's different. But every position other than that, it's highly important that you are drafting the best football players possible because at the end of the day, he's a defensive back. If we have too many corners, we can move him somewhere else. We can do more things with him. And if you watched the New York Jets last season, our DBs were getting hurt left, right, and center. So you can never have too many. Really excited to see what this guy brings to the team. And I'm excited for the physicality that this guy will impose on opposing offenses.
Look, I am too. I think he's going to be a good fit. And with Michael Carter being the slot corner and the highest paid slot corner in football, he's going to be prominent on the field as well. So it is interesting to think about where Azareyeh Thomas will fit in to the team. And it was also mentioned by the Jet Press that for a team like the Jets, which wants to cover its corners to crowd receivers at the line of scrimmage and disrupt timing, Thomas is an ideal scheme fit. His arrival instantly creates competition at a position the Jets just spent big money trying to solidify with Stevens. Also, when talking about big money, it's important to note that Sauce Gardner will be finding his way into some big money, the biggest money in history of an NFL defensive back, quite soon. All this being said, I agree. I like this move for the same reason that you did. They actually did pick for best player available. It wasn't just Aaron Glenn saying that. They did not let a good player stop them from drafting a great player. Now, there's been a lot of talk just about what's going to happen because of this, and rightfully so. I mean, Thomas played 3 years at Florida State, showed a lot of promise. I mean, got 52 tackles last season. Out of a corner, that's impressive. 2 tackles for loss. Also had an interception last year. So there was a lot of good to like about the way that Azareyeh Thomas played football. Meanwhile, Brandon Stevens was mostly up and down with the Ravens. There was good moments, but as we talked about when the Jets signed Stevens, a bunch of Ravens fans were happy that Stevens was leaving. So it's really going to be interesting to see this competition. And we've seen Stevens move around a little bit. I mean, his first season in the NFL, he was a free safety where he started 11 games, played 2 years as a defensive back, and then last year was listed by Pro Football Reference as a right cornerback. So he's moved around a bit, which is interesting to consider. And, I mean, I'm interested in seeing about this. There's also, you do have to consider, if Azareyeh Thomas is too good to keep off the field, there's a world where Stevens becoming the free safety would not be shocking.
Absolutely not. There's also a world where the plan is to keep Stevens at safety from day one. Now, Aaron Glenn's words don't correspond with that, but the film on Stevens and his history of playing safety would suggest that that's possibly a move that they could do. And one more thing that we got to throw in about this prospect, a term that comes up with him all the time is long arms. And that reminds me of Sauce Gardner because we see how Sauce Gardner can punch the football out even when he's way behind the wide receiver trying to make a play on the football. So Azareyeh Thomas is going to be able to make the same type of plays, the same kinds of breakups that Sauce Gardner can. And it looks like the New York Jets, whether it's Stevens or Azareyeh Thomas, are going to have a very scary cornerback duo going forwards.
Yeah, I mean, with all the excitement surrounding Thomas as well, I would not mind. I mean, right now you look at it, and is it even clear right now who the Jets' starting free safety is going to be?
I mean, the Jets, I'm going to take this term from what Ben Johnson, the Lions head coach, said, but I'm sure the Jets are doing the exact same thing. Ben Johnson for the Lions said, there's no depth chart right now. Any job's up for grabs. You got to go out and earn it. Aaron Glenn didn't say that, but I am positive that he's going to approach his defense with the exact same method. He's going to do that. So there is no starting anything right now, especially on that defense, especially for defensive backs. Everyone's going to have to earn everything, and Aaron Glenn is going to put together a real nasty defense, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm so excited. I really like the fact that the Jets went out there and did this. It shows that Aaron Glenn is everything that he says. It's not just that he says everything correctly. He's out there backing up everything he says, which is what you want out of a head coach. And something that we never really discussed that much, and not to go into it now, we will definitely talk about this off camera a little bit and probably do some stuff on camera about this, was now like around a week ago, Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic, he did a Q&A on Reddit. And one of the things he said that was one of the biggest differences between last year's regime and this year's regime in regards to coaching is that how Robert Saleh was very, go players, player empowerment, you guys are the best. And Jeff Ulbrich kind of mirrored that because he did just come from Robert Saleh. And Rosenblatt said word for word, that's not this year. everyone knows this is Aaron Glenn's show that he's running. So Aaron Glenn is the judge, the jury, the executioner. I would very much imagine that Aaron Glenn does not have a depth chart whatsoever for this team. I kind of think at this point Stevens will end up being that free safety so the Jets can decide to ultimately use Azareyeh Thomas depending on how he performs now that he's with the team.
That's absolutely possible. We paid Andre Sisco to be the starting free safety, but we didn't pay him so much money where Aaron Glenn's going to be like, if you're not the best free safety, you're not going to play. So Aaron Glenn's not going to be just fine benching him if he's not good enough, if he's not ready. If there's someone else who is more deserving of that starting role, I absolutely agree with you, Chris. Let's let all the best defensive backs play. And I would not be surprised if Malachi Moore out of Alabama, with the elite traits that he brings to the table, I'm really excited about that pick. I really think he's someone else a young rookie who can crack the defensive back lineup for the New York Jets as early as week 1.
I don't disagree. Matt, one quick question. Very quickly, is there a world, I mean, Stevens wouldn't do it, is there a world where they'd move Sisco to strong safety in your opinion?
Absolutely.
Okay, I figured as much. Yeah. I just want to know your opinion on that as well. But guys, what's your opinion on everything that Matt and I just said, word for word? No matter what the word is, respond.
Honestly, Chris, wait, let's throw this in here. I mean, ESPN depth charts are usually really, really good. Really good. Right now, they got the Jets safeties all messed up. Andre Sisco is definitely going to be the starting strong safety. And Tony Adams is going to be our free safety here. Yeah, but they got that. They got that wrong right now.
Yeah, part of my head, I was like, I feel like Sisco was strong safety with Jacksonville. Well, that makes even more sense considering Woody Johnson hates Tony Adams. So we could see Brandon Stevens at free safety. What do you guys want to see happen? Do you want to see Brandon Stevens move to free safety so Azareyeh Thomas can get some burn on day 1? Let us know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. If you see Matt in public, throw eggs at him. Have a great day, and go Jets.